Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Chinese Tier 8 Preferential Premium Medium tank, the Type 59. Now if you did like the video, as always don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Type 59, the OG. It's got preferential premium matchmaking, and like I said in the 112 video, if you don't know what that means, it basically means it will never see tier 10. It sees +1, -2. So that's a nice benefit for something like the Type 59, where you don't have to ever worry about those pesky tier 10s ruining your tier 8 time. Unless, of course, you fail platoon, and the way to fail platoon these days is to take a preferential premium tank out in a platoon with tanks, well, with people that don't have preferential premiums. And that means that you will see tier 10, because if you're platoon with anyone with a tank that doesn't have pref whatsoever, it completely wipes that matchmaking. So don't do that. Pure pain. But the Type 59, it is, like I say, an OG tank. It's been around for what feels like forever. Genuinely. Feels like forever. It's a very similar tank to something like a T54, but obviously a tier lower. You got a pref matchmaking, so you're basically a tier 7.5, 8, you know, that sort of area where you're not quite as good as a lot of the other tech tree vehicles, because it is OG. And that means that you struggle a bit with your penetration, your mobility is a bit more sluggish, although I think they buffed it a wee while ago, so it is a lot better than it used to be. The gun handling is also pretty troll as well, which can be very, very annoying on this Type 59. But again, that also is slightly better than it used to be as well, but it's still pretty frustrating. But 6.0 also helped it a lot with the crew skills, where the gun actually became somewhat usable, because this tank used to be super duper frustrating. I used to hate it, because it was one of those guns that you'd fully aim and you would miss anyway, and it felt like it took an age to get to that point of being fully aimed, and then, like I say, you'd just miss your shot and go, oh, really, gun? And it was always super frustrating to play. But it was always nice in the fact that you did have decent mobility. You had pretty good armour, because the armour on this tank for a medium tank is pretty okay. Yeah, they'll go through your upper plate, yeah, they'll go through your lower plate quite easily, but the turret armour is very, very nice, and because it's that Soviet-esque shape of a hull, kind of like a T-54, which is why I say it's very similar to a T-54, right? But, you know, it's the Chinese kind of attempt at it, is that you can side scrape in this vehicle quite well as well, which is very, very good. You've got this 100mm gun. You got a 56 km/h top speed on the Type 59 with a 20 km/h reverse speed, 600 horsepower engine, which is 16.67 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning you will get to 56 km/h. It's just sometimes a little bit sluggish getting there in the old Type 59. 12% internal fire chance as well, feels like a lie. Yep, it absolutely feels like a lie. This tank does like getting set on fire, even though you got a 12% chance, which is on the low end of fire chances. It still does get set on fire quite a bit, so be careful of that. You got 46 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which is pretty good, with ground resistances that don't really hold the tank back that much, which is quite nice. 311 meters of steel concealment is okay, not great though. You can knock that down even lower with stuff like a camo net or with better crew skills, stuff like that, but I tend to play this thing a little bit more brawly, so I only take one camo skill to knock it down to that 311 meters of steel concealment. You got 342 meters of on-the-move concealment, which again isn't the best, and it means you will get spotted quite a lot when you start to move, so you be very careful of that in the Type 59. 486 meters of view range is fairly average view range for a tier 8 medium, so we'll take it. It's quite nice. It means you can spot for yourself quite decently in the Type 59. You got 49.96 degrees a second on the turret rotation, which means it is quicker than the tracks, and that's very good. We haven't really helped that out that much either, which is great for the tank. You got 1.41 accuracy during rotation, which is atrocious, with 2.07 accuracy during movement, which again, combined with the accuracy during rotation, is awful. And it means that as soon as you turn the tank and you start going on the move in the Type 59, your aim circle becomes massive, which is why you really need the gun stabilizer. Because even with the gun stabilizer, which is what we're running to get that 1.41 and 2.07, that's still bad for saying we're running the gun stabilizer. So, yeah, you want all the gun perks and the gun stabilizer to make this gun somewhat usable, because if you don't run them, yeah, the Type 59 becomes a pain and very, very troll in general with how the gun handles. You've got 7 degrees of gun depression in the Type 59, which again is actually pretty good for this Soviet-esque type hull. It means you can actually use a ridgeline quite nicely in the Type 59. You've got 0.29 accuracy at 100 meters, which again is fairly accurate, but the gun just likes missing at times. You sit there going, why gun? Why do you hate me thus, you know? You got 2.12 second aim time, which means the gun does get aimed in fairly quickly, though, in the end. Fairly average aim time, realistically, with all that we have on the tank. 6.34 second reload is 2.3k DPM, which is on the low end of DPM, realistically, for a tier 8 medium tank. But it's not too bad for saying you go against tier 6s and 7s quite commonly in a preferential tank like the Type 59. You got 181 penetration on the standard AP, which is very low, with 241 penetration on the premium APCR, which is good enough to face pretty much everything you're going to go against, because obviously the worst you can see is tier 9. It's just that the 181mm of penetration on the standard AP can leave a lot to be desired in the Type 59 quite a lot at times. 250 alpha on the 100mm gun is quite nice, though, and you got 900 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, with 1,125 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APCR. So you got below average AP velocity, which helps with the gun feeling derpy, and 1,125 is above average. It's quite nice on the premium rounds. As you saw that first game, we finished with the 3 kills, the 3,000 damage, fair bit of base XP there for a second class, and was just a fairly average game for the Type 59 on the newly returned Ardennes map. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old Type 59? Well, to get the stats that you've just heard on the Type 59, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Track Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Camouflage Expertise, with the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to be able to get that 486 meters of view range, so I can spot for myself quite well, and you're going to see that in this replay, how nice it is to have the nice view range. Gun Stabilizer to get that accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, so that the aim circle isn't too bad when it blooms out. And even if you run the gun stable, like I say, the accuracy during movement and rotation is still pretty poor. You really need to help that out, because even with running that gun stabilizer and all 3 gun perks, which is why we run it, the gun handling is still a bit, ooh, you know, so you really want to help it out. And then the advanced loader to make the best out of the DPM, because if you don't run it, yeah, your DPM's not that great, realistically, and even then your reload is still not fantastic in the old Type 59. And then, like I say, all 3 gun perks, because you really need to help this gun out. So if you... Where did that go? Excuse me, game. That's what I'm talking about with the Type 59 gun handling, by the way. But yeah, if you don't help the gun handling with that, those crew skills, you really need it. You've got the Track Mechanic, because I am definitely very brawly in this Type 59. And a lot of the time, I will be poking over ridge lines, side scraping, that sort of thing in the Type 59. So I want to be able to get my tracks back on as quickly as humanly possible, especially if I've already burnt my repair kit. And then Camouflage Expertise to try and just get that little bit extra camo out of it so I can stay unspotted in certain bush locations in the Type 59, which can be quite handy. And 311, like I say, it's not terrible, but it's also not great. You know, you want to, when you're starting to get to great camo, you're going below 290. And this tank doesn't have that unless you run the camo net. So, that first game was a pretty average game for the Ardennes map. We're on to the second replay, and so far we're on to 1,242 damage, but with 5k assistance damage. Because pushing under the bridge on highway and doing this exact push that I've done here is very, very good, because it cuts off the enemy team quite easily defending their ridgeline. You spot them all if you've got enough people behind you to feed you a lot of assistance damage, like you've seen. And then you can also get quite a bit of damage while being hulled down. And when you need to progress the fight, you can move up to the next section of the fight, which is up to that ridgeline near where that bridge is. And we've had a good amount of assistance, especially since we've been YOLO'd twice now, I think. We got done with YOLO by the RU and the Freedom, which we managed to make the most of and get a load of assistance by tracking them in place, stopping them dead. And when that sort of thing happens and people do just charge at you like that, it's always best, especially when you know you've got shooters, just to track them. Stop them dead, because a lot of the time, even if they haven't fired, they might pull the trigger, and then when you track them, their tank swings to the right or the left, and then they miss their shot. So it might be something you want to do just to stop them in their tracks, and then it keeps them and makes them an easy stationary target for your allies to shoot as well, which means they're not shooting a moving target, and more than likely they'll shut them down quicker, which is always a nice thing to do to be able to help with that regard. So we're trying to get shots through this T-34-3. Now, my 181 penetration of AP pen will actually struggle with the T-34-3. We really need to fire the APCR to go through that guy's upper plate, or we hit the lower plate. We get shot by the Chrysler K on the move. He ends up doing track damage only. and he's starting to come back. But we are capping their base. Their team really needs to come back, because this is what generally happens on Highway. If the enemy team wins the town, they have to come back and defend their ridgeline where their base is, because otherwise this is exactly what happens. Their team's actually pushed towards our base, but our whole team has swarmed towards theirs, making it easy for us to cap and defend the cap, because they've got no one defending the positions that we're in. So we're just going to move forward, see if we can try and get an extra shot or two into maybe the Chrysler or the T-34-3, because we are so close to capping. But the Chrysler's managed to get a shot into us, just waiting for him to drive around the corner. I was probably going to die there, so we're saved by the cap. But we still finished with a pretty decent game there for the Type 59 on Highway. 1 kill, 2.1k damage, 6.7k assistance damage with the first class and the 1885 base XP. A pretty nice game there in total for the combined damage, especially on the Type 59. I mean, we were at, what, 8 and a bit K combined there? Very, very nice game there for a Tier 8 medium tank. And especially in a Tier 9 game. So we're on to the third and final replay, and this time we are on the nostalgia map, and that is Widepark. You know, we said it about the 112, right? It's just nostalgic. It's just such a nostalgic map. You see it and you go, I remember the times when I first started playing this game back in 2014, 15, and, you know, remember playing in my little Tier 3s on Widepark. And this is one of those maps that just brings back those memories. And with Widepark, I don't like this spawn that we've got. This side of the map is just, yeah, it's a bit iffy, to be honest. And that's because their control of this mid-ridge is so much easier. They have so much better control of this mid-ridge because of the way it curves. It means that if they have people where this Type 63 are, and people on the other side, where that light tank is currently spotted at D4, if you're trying to fight either side, it can be a royal pain to fight it on the ridgeline, because you just start getting farmed. And if you try and push down the 9-0, you're an easy farm for the people that go and sit at D4. And if you try and push down the 1-2 line, you're an easy farm for the people where this Type 63 is, unless they're being distracted. Now, right now, which is quite fortunate, nobody is currently using that D3 position and punishing us for trying to attack this Type 63. And the Type 63 is also getting shot by my friend that was down at D4. So we're currently being okay. The Type 63 actually gets a shot through. We put a shot into the Tiger P, because at this point, I was like, you know, I'm not really going to get a shot into the Type 63. I'm not going to be able to pen it in the situation he's in. So I may as well just try and put some shots into the guys that I could see, like the Tiger P. We put a shot into the side of the SMV CC67, but we get shot in the side by the Type 59. And thankfully, killing that ball sig there was a good position, because it makes it very difficult for the Type 59 to be able to actually poke over and use that position with his gun depression to get shots at us. So that ball sig's actually died in the perfect place, which is great. The Type 59's pulled back, so I'm thinking, okay, I might put some pressure on this BZ-176 if I can. I've got to be careful of the BZ-176, because, well, they have a big caliber gun, they have a lot of damage. There's quite a likelihood that he could blow my ammo rack if I'm not careful, because that is one thing that does happen in the Type 59. So he is tracked. I think, okay, let's keep him perma-tracked, because I did track and pen him in a minute ago. But unfortunately, we didn't actually pen him then. We put a shot through the side there that does pen him, and we are detected, so that made me a little bit nervous. So I'm just trying to keep myself covered from that BZ so he can't quite find a shot at me. And we're just trying to maneuver it so that he can't get a shot at me and I can shoot him. But the train tracks here that we're bobbling up and down are making very, very awkward to try and get a shot at this guy, because it's just destroying our gun depression. So we put a shot through the tracks there to track him in place, put a shot into the artillery, and get ourselves pulled back so that hopefully I might get a shot into him, but also get myself safe from the BZ, who is just coming over. He puts a shot straight through us, no problem. We managed to pen him there. Okay, I'll take it. I didn't expect it. But I know he's got a bad reload, so I think, you know what? Okay, with the amount of people spotted, let's go get a shot into his lower plate. But he does the right thing. He boosts himself with his rockets, which pushed him straight into me, which meant that I could not get the gun depression to shut him down. We managed to get back, though, and our friend finished him off. We put a shot through the A44, and Mr. A44 needs to go. That shot looked like it should have hit the A44, but sadly it misses. That's the Type 59 gun handling there in a nutshell. It just loves a good miss at times. Put the shot into the A44 to finish him off. Now there's the SMV CC67. He gets shut down before we get chance. I mean, there's only 3 tanks left on the enemy team. There's the T28 prop that we were shooting at earlier on that was in that dip where the artillery is, the arty, and a heavy tank. So I can't quite find the shot into the artillery. The Tiger P gets shut down by the Guardian STG, and the artillery gets shut down by the UDES 03, meaning there's only 1 tank left on the enemy vehicle team, sorry, and it's where are you, Mr. Vehicle? Where are you, Mr. T28 prop? And there he is! He was still camping in the same spot he was at the start of the game, and we get the shot in to finish him off. And we'll finish with the epic victory, 3 kills, 3.3k damage, 2.3k assistance damage, the ace tanker with the 1948 base XP. A really nice game there for the Type 59, which is a tank that you're going to be able to get in the Season Pass at level 75. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!